I am standing in an empty house. The last rays of afternoon sunlight filter through the bare windows, casting long shadows across the hardwood floor. 3 years ago, Diane and I walked through this very room, her hand in mine, as she pointed at the corner and said this would be where we would put our Christmas tree. She said this house would be our future. Today I stand here alone, keys in hand, ready to pass them to the new owner. Diane is not here. This house that once echoed with her laughter now only holds silence. Diane told me he made her feel alive. So I told her she was free to chase that feeling anywhere she wanted, just not in the life we built together. Before we dive into how I got here, I need to know something. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching this from. And if you have ever had your world turned upside down by someone you trusted, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to hear how this all played out, because what happened next changed everything. I thought I knew about love and loyalty. Now let me take you back to where it all started to fall apart. Let me paint you a picture of what life looked like before everything crumbled. Diane and I met 5 years ago at a tech conference in Austin, Texas. I was there presenting a software solution my team had developed, and she was managing the marketing booth for her company. We connected over our shared passion for technology and innovation. She had this energy about her, this spark that drew people in. By the end of that conference, we had exchanged numbers, and within 6 months, we were inseparable. 3 years ago, we made the decision to move to Denver together. We both found good jobs, me as a software engineer at a growing tech company, and Diane as a marketing manager at a creative agency. We rented for a year, saving every penny we could, dreaming about the day we could buy our own place. When we finally found the house in the Highlands neighborhood, it felt like fate. It was a 2-story home with 3 bedrooms, hardwood floors throughout, and a backyard with a cherry tree that bloomed every spring. The moment Diane saw that tree, her eyes lit up. She said it was perfect. I paid the entire down payment using money I had inherited from my grandfather. Diane promised she would pay me back her half once she got her year-end bonus, but honestly, I never cared about the money. I just wanted to build a life with her. We moved in on a sunny Saturday in May, and I can still remember how we spent that first night sitting on the floor of our empty living room, eating pizza straight from the box, talking about all the memories we would create here. 8 months ago, I proposed to her in that same backyard under that cherry tree. She said yes without hesitation, tears streaming down her face. We set the wedding date for the following autumn. Everything felt like it was falling into place. Our life had a rhythm to it. We would wake up together, share coffee in the kitchen before work, and on weekends we would drive up to the Rocky Mountains to hike. Diane was the kind of person who left sticky notes on the bathroom mirror with little messages like, "Have a great day, handsome," or "I love you more than coffee," and that is saying something. Every Friday, I would cook dinner for us. It was our tradition. She would come home, we would open a bottle of wine, and we would just be together. But then about 4 months ago, things started to shift. It was subtle at first, so subtle that I convinced myself I was imagining it. Diane got assigned to a major project at work. Her company had brought in a new creative director named Kyle, someone who had relocated from New York and had this reputation for being brilliant and innovative. Diane was excited about the project. She talked about it constantly, about how this could be a huge career move for her. I supported her completely. I wanted her to succeed. The late nights started shortly after. Diane would text me saying she had to stay for a meeting or that the team was on a tight deadline. I trusted her. Why would I not? In 5 years, she had never given me a reason to doubt her. But then I started noticing other changes. She began paying more attention to her appearance. She bought new clothes, changed her hairstyle, started wearing perfume I had never smelled before. When I complimented her, she would smile and say she just wanted to feel good about herself. She started mentioning Kyle a lot. Kyle suggested this approach for the campaign. Kyle thinks we should pivot our strategy. Kyle is such a visionary. At first, I thought it was just professional admiration. I work in tech. I understand having colleagues you respect. But there was something about the way she said his name, the way her face would light up when she talked about him, that made something in my gut twist. One Friday night, our date night, Diane called to say she had to work late. I had already prepared her favorite meal lemon herb chicken with roasted vegetables. I set the table, lit candles, and waited. She came home at 11 at night, looking exhausted. She apologized quickly, said she was too tired to eat, and went straight to bed. I sat alone in the kitchen staring at the 2 plates of food that had gone cold. For the first time in our relationship, I felt lonely in my own home. I tried to talk to her the next morning, but she was rushing out the door saying she had forgotten about a brunch meeting. I watched her leave and realized we had not had a real conversation in weeks. We were living in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, but there was this invisible wall between us. I kept asking myself if I had done something wrong. Was I not attentive enough? Was I too boring? Too predictable? I tried to push those thoughts away, telling myself that every couple goes through rough patches. This was just a phase. We would get through it. But deep down in a place I did not want to acknowledge, I knew something was very wrong. After 2 weeks of Diane coming home late and barely speaking to me, I could not take it anymore. I needed to know what was happening. One Wednesday evening, Diane told me she had a dinner meeting with clients and would be home late. Something about the way she said it, the way she avoided looking me in the eye, made my stomach drop. I did something I am not proud of. I drove to her office. The parking lot was nearly empty, just a few scattered cars under the dim streetlights. I looked for her white Honda CR-V. It was not there. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I pulled out my phone and called her. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. I sat there for 10 minutes trying to convince myself there was a logical explanation. Maybe she parked somewhere else. Maybe the meeting was at a different location. But I knew. Somewhere deep inside, I knew. I drove home and waited. Diane came back just past midnight. When I asked her about the meeting, she gave me vague answers. She said it ran long. Then the team went out for drinks. When I pressed for details, she got defensive, saying she was exhausted and did not want to be interrogated. She went upstairs and I heard the bedroom door close. I slept on the couch that night. I could not bring myself to lie next to her. The following Saturday morning changed everything. Diane left early to go to a yoga class, or at least that is what she told me. She forgot her phone on the kitchen counter. I was making coffee when it started buzzing repeatedly. I glanced at the screen. A text notification lit up. It was from someone saved as K in her contacts. The message read, "Last night was amazing. I cannot stop thinking about you." My heart stopped. I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. I sat down heavily in one of the kitchen chairs, my hands shaking as I picked up her phone. I knew I should not look. I knew it was a violation of privacy. But I had to know. Her phone was unlocked because she had been using it before she left. I opened her messages and found the conversation with K. Kyle. There were dozens of messages going back over a month. I scrolled through them, each one feeling like a knife twisting deeper. Sweet words, heart emojis, plans to meet up. And then I saw it. A message from Diane that read, "Being with you makes me feel alive again. Van is a good man, but he is so predictable. Safe. You make me feel like I am 20 again." Kyle had responded, "You deserve to feel alive. You deserve passion." I kept reading, my vision blurring. They had been meeting up regularly. The late nights were not work meetings. The dinner with clients never happened. Just last night, they had been together at his apartment. I felt nauseous. I quickly took screenshots of several messages on my own phone, then placed her phone back exactly where it had been. I sat there in the kitchen, my head in my hands, trying to process what I had just discovered. The woman I loved, the woman I was going to marry, had been lying to me for weeks. She had been with someone else. And the worst part was what she had said about me. Predictable. Safe. Those words echoed in my mind. When Diane came home an hour later, she was glowing, cheerful. She asked what I wanted for lunch. I looked at her, this person I thought I knew, and she suddenly felt like a stranger. I told her I was not hungry and went upstairs to my office. That afternoon, I could not keep it inside any longer. I went downstairs and found her on the couch, scrolling through her phone. I asked her directly, "Are you happy with us?" She looked startled. "What kind of question is that?" "You have been distant," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You come home late. You barely talk to me anymore. I need to know what is going on." She was quiet for a moment, then said, "I have just been stressed with work. The project with Kyle is demanding." "Is it just the project?" I asked. "Or is it Kyle?" Her face went pale. "What are you implying?" "I am asking if there is something between you and Kyle." She looked away. "We are just colleagues." "You are being paranoid?" The lie was so blatant it made me angry. "Do not lie to me, Diane. I know something is wrong." She stood up abruptly. "I cannot do this right now. You are being irrational." She went upstairs and slammed the bedroom door behind her. I stood there alone in the living room, my hands clenched into fists. She had looked me in the eye and lied. That night we slept in separate rooms for the first time in 5 years. The next week was torture. Diane barely came home. She always had an excuse, always had somewhere else to be. I decided I needed concrete proof, not just text messages. I needed to see it with my own eyes. The following Thursday, Diane told me she had a dinner meeting with clients. I followed her. I am not proud of it, but I had to know. I kept a safe distance as she drove downtown. She parked outside an Italian restaurant, the kind with dim lighting and intimate booths. I parked a few spaces away and watched. Diane stepped out of her car wearing a black dress I had never seen before, one that hugged her figure. A few moments later, Kyle appeared. He was tall, well-dressed, confident. He walked up to her, wrapped his arms around her waist and kissed her. Not a friendly peck, a real kiss. I felt like I could not breathe. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I watched them walk into the restaurant together, laughing his hand on the small of her back. I sat in that car for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. I took a photo of them through the restaurant window, then drove home. I did not want to see any more. When I got back to the house, I sat in the garage in complete darkness. And for the first time in years, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I realized the life I thought I had was a lie. Diane came home just after midnight. I was sitting in the living room with all the lights off. When she walked in, I turned on the lamp beside me. She froze when she saw me. "We need to talk," I said. "And this time, I need the truth." "Van, it is late," she said. "Can we do this tomorrow?" I pulled out my phone and opened the photo I had taken earlier. I held it up so she could see. Diane and Kyle kissing outside the restaurant. Her face drained of color. "I saw you tonight," I said quietly. "I saw everything. So please do not lie to me anymore." The silence was suffocating. Diane slowly walked over and sat down on the chair across from me. She covered her face with her hands. After what felt like an eternity, she whispered, "I am sorry." "Sorry for what exactly?" I asked. "Sorry for cheating. Sorry for lying. Sorry for wasting 5 years of my life." She started crying. "I did not mean for this to happen. Kyle and we just connected. He makes me feel things I have not felt in years." Each word felt like a punch to the gut. "What things, Diane?" Through her tears, she said, "He makes me feel alive, Van. With you, everything is so routine, so predictable. I love you, but I am not in love with you anymore." That sentence broke something inside me. I sat there trying to process it, trying to stay calm. "How long?" I asked. 2 months? 2 months? I repeated. "And you were going to tell me when after the wedding? Or were you just going to keep living this double life?" "I do not know," she sobbed. "I was confused. I did not want to hurt you." I let out a bitter laugh. "Well, you failed at that." We sat in silence. Finally, I asked the question I was terrified to hear the answer to. "Do you love him?" She nodded slowly. "I think I do." I stood up. "Then you should be with him." She looked up at me, surprised. "What?" "You heard me," I said. "If he makes you feel alive, go. Be alive with him. I am not going to beg you to stay." The next morning, I woke up with a strange sense of clarity. I was not going to fall apart. I was not going to beg. I was going to take control. While Diane was still asleep, I called a family lawyer and scheduled an appointment. I made a list of every asset we had together: the house, the car I had bought for her, our joint bank account. Then I checked the paperwork for the house. My name was the only one on the deed. I had paid the entire down payment with my inheritance, and Diane had never followed through on her promise to reimburse me. I called a real estate agent I knew. "I need to sell my house. Fast." She sounded surprised. "Van, you just renovated the kitchen last year. Are you sure?" "Plans change," I said. "I need it on the market by next week." I started packing my belongings, sorting through what I wanted to keep and what I would leave behind. When Diane woke up and saw me loading boxes, she panicked. "What are you doing?" she asked. I did not stop packing. "I am leaving, and I am selling the house. "You cannot just sell the house," she said. "We bought it together." I turned to face her, my voice cold and steady. "Actually, I can. The house is in my name. You never contributed to the down payment. Remember, you said you would pay me back later, but you never did." "Van, please," she said. "Can we talk about this?" "There is nothing to talk about," I replied. "You made your choice. Now, I am making mine." Over the next 2 weeks, I worked like a machine. I listed the house at a fair market price, and within days I had multiple offers. I closed the joint bank account and opened a new one in my name only. I took back the car I had bought for Diane. It was still registered under my name, so legally it was mine. She had to start using rideshare apps to get to work. Diane tried to talk to me several times, but I avoided her. She moved in with Kyle. I did not care. 3 weeks after I put the house on the market, it sold. The sale price was even higher than I had expected. After paying off the remaining mortgage, I walked away with a significant amount of money. I moved into a small, minimalist apartment downtown. It was clean, simple, and entirely mine. No memories, no ghosts. Diane called me crying, saying she missed me and wanted to try again. I looked at my phone, her name flashing on the screen, and I felt nothing. "You said Kyle makes you feel alive," I told her. "Go live that alive life, Diane. I am done." I blocked her number. I threw myself into work. I took on extra projects, stayed late at the office, and poured all my energy into my career. My coworkers noticed the change. I was more focused, more driven, but also colder. I did not care. I was building something new. 2 months after I sold the house, I ran into an old mutual friend at a coffee shop. We chatted briefly, and she mentioned something in passing that made me pause. Apparently, Kyle was not the man Diane thought he was. It turned out he had a wife and 2 kids back in New York. He had only come to Denver temporarily for work. When his wife found out about the affair, she flew to Denver and confronted him at the office. The scene was apparently quite dramatic. Kyle was fired for violating company policy about relationships with subordinates. He packed up and went back to New York, leaving Diane behind. Diane also lost her job because of her involvement in the scandal. She tried reaching out to me multiple times, but I never responded. One afternoon, I was at a coffee shop near my apartment when I saw her. She looked exhausted, her face pale and drawn. She saw me too. For a moment, our eyes met. She looked like she wanted to come over and talk. I gave her a polite nod and turned away. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just indifference. The first few months after the breakup were hard. I would lie awake at night, replaying everything in my mind, wondering if I could have done something differently. I blamed myself for being too predictable, too safe. But then with the help of a therapist and time, I started to see things more clearly. The problem was not me. The problem was that Diane was not mature enough to appreciate stability. She chased a feeling, a high, without understanding that feelings fade. Kyle gave her excitement because he was new, forbidden, risky. But when reality set in, it all fell apart. I started rebuilding my life. I reconnected with old friends. I joined a rock climbing gym and met people who shared my interests. I took a solo trip to Iceland, something I had always wanted to do, but Diane had never been interested in. Standing on a black sand beach, watching the waves crash against the shore, I felt something I had not felt in months. Peace. 6 months after everything ended, I realized I did not regret letting Diane go. I did not regret selling the house. Those were just things, just pieces of a past that no longer served me. I was building something better, something real. I learned that real love is not about feeling alive in some wild, chaotic way. It is about respect, trust, and commitment. Diane chased intensity, but intensity burns out. She wanted passion, but she confused passion with infatuation. Kyle was exciting because he was new, because what they were doing was wrong. But that kind of thrill does not last. When his wife showed up and the consequences became real, he ran. And Diane was left with nothing. I also learned not to hold on to people who do not want to stay. I could have begged. I could have fought for her. But what would that have given me? A partner who stayed out of guilt? Someone who resented me? No. I chose my dignity. I chose myself. Pain is part of life. Betrayal happens. Hearts break. But those things do not define who you are. What defines you is how you respond. I could have let this destroy me. I could have become bitter and angry. But instead, I stood up. I took control. I walked away from what was broken and started building something new. Now, when I think back to that day, I stood in the empty house handing over the keys to the new owners. I do not feel sadness. I feel relief. That house was never really ours. It was mine. And I let it go just like I let Diane go because holding on to the past only keeps you from moving forward. So here is what I want to leave you with. If you have made it this far, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because staying would have meant losing yourself? Drop a comment below and share your story. I read every single one and I promise you are not alone. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. It helps more people find this and maybe it will help someone else who is going through something similar. Subscribe to this channel because I share real stories about real life, no sugarcoating, no fake drama. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, please share this video with them. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was not easy to hear and it definitely was not easy to live through. But I am on the other side now and I am okay. Better than okay, actually. I hope that wherever you are in your journey, you find your peace too. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. Sometimes the people we love become strangers, and the life we built becomes just a memory. But maybe that is okay. Maybe letting go is not losing. Maybe it is choosing yourself. And maybe that is the most alive you can ever feel.